Hello, so today we're doing Unit 2, Day 11, which is reviewing the slope and the y-intercept from different items. So let's start with number 1. Identify the slope and the y-intercept from this equation. Now remember, the y-intercept is the number without the x, okay, or the letter b. So in this case, it will be the 5. The slope is the number in front of the x, and in this case is the negative 4. So remember, if the symbol is in front of the number, it belongs to it. So as you can tell, that negative is in front of the 4, so it belongs to that 4. So my slope is negative 4, and my y-intercept is 5. Now, number 2. Identify the slope and the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the number that is by itself without the x. So if you notice, that will be the negative 3, and it's a negative because the symbol is in front of the 3. So the y-intercept is negative 3. Now, the slope is the number beside the x, so in this case it's a 0.5. Now remember, if you want to use the slope-intercept form, it's y equals mx plus b. And remember, the slope represents the m, and the letter b represents the y-intercept. Now, number 3, identify the slope and the y-intercept. Now, the slope, actually, let's start off by identifying the y-intercept. That's a lot easier. The y-intercept on the table is where the x equals 0, and the y value will be the y-intercept. So if you notice, where x equals 0 is your y-intercept. So in this case, it will be 0, negative 0.5, or you can just say b equals negative 0.5. Now, to find the slope, I got to find the pattern of the right side and the pattern of the left side. So let's start with the right side. Negative 4.25 minus negative 0.5 gives me negative 3.75. Next, negative 0.5 minus 0.25, negative 0.75. 0.25 minus 4 is negative 3.75. And then 4 minus 4.75 is negative 0.75. And then the last one, 4.75 minus 7 is negative 2.25. Then on the other side, 5 minus 0 is 5. 0 minus negative 1 is 1. Negative 1 minus negative 6 is 5. Negative 6 minus negative 7 is 1. And negative 7 minus negative 10 is 3. So of course you got to set up your slope, the right side over the left side. So the right side will be negative 3.75 over 5. That will be the first one. Then followed by negative 0.75 over 1. We already have negative 3.75 over 5, so we don't have to write it down again. We already have negative 0.75 over 1, so we don't have to write it down again. But we do not have negative 2.25 over 3, so I'll write that one down. So if you notice, and you simplify all of these down, you should get the same slope, which is negative 0.75. And that will be your slope for this problem. So the slope is negative 0.75, and the y-intercept is negative 0.5. Now, you can try number 4 by yourself. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. For number 5, for each graph, identify the slope and the y-intercept. So let's start off by choosing 2 points over choice to find the slope. So I'm just going to choose the 2 points at the corner. So if you notice, the slope is the rise over the run. Okay? So let's do this. What is the rise? The rise is all the way up here to 110. So my rise is 110, and my run is 2. So 110 divided by 2 is just 55. So the slope for this problem is 55, and the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and that will be at 0. So your y-intercept is 0. Now, the next problem, let's start off by finding the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and it will be exactly right there at 1. So your y-intercept is 1. And your slope, all you have to do is pick 2 points that you can use, which I'm going to say these 2 right here. And you're going to do the rise over the run. So the rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the run is 1. And if you notice, it's going downstairs. So that means it's going down. So if it's going down, that means it's decreasing. Therefore, this slope has to be a negative. So when you do -5 divided by 1, it's just -5. So your slope is -5. Okay? Go ahead and flip to the other side. Now, for this problem, they're asking you if this is linear. Why? So remember, if it's linear, it has a slope. Non-linear, no slope. So let's see if this has a slope. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. A minus 1 is 7. 5 minus 1 is 4. 1 minus 0 is 1. 0 minus -2 is 2. So if you do your right side over your left side, you get 1 over 4, 1 over 1, 7 over 2. As you can tell, you get completely different slopes. The slope is not constant. And because the slope is not constant, it's nonlinear. Okay? So nonlinear, I'll write it down here. So non-linear because the slope is not constant. Okay? Of course, if you have any questions about today's lesson, please do not hesitate to ask me today in class or tomorrow in class.